There's a part of you that feels some kind of hesitation, like a natural instinct that shows up. It's almost as if you're standing at the edge of a new possibility, feeling both the excitement of stepping forward and the pull of the unknown holding you back. But isn't it interesting how sometimes just the thought of a new possibility can create a whole world of questions, doubts, and feelings of uncertainty? And maybe those questions and doubts, even though they seem so real in the moment, they're just part of the process. The very natural process of adjusting to something new. It's as if every part of you is learning to trust yourself in a deeper way. You may have noticed how, at times, a little bit of uncertainty can give you the space to reflect, adjust, and adapt. Have you ever realized you already have experiences where you have been independent in small ways, even when you didn't expect it? There are moments when you've taken charge, even without fully noticing. Maybe it's something simple, like choosing what you want to eat, or deciding to try something new. Those moments are like little seeds of independence growing inside you, perhaps without you even realizing how powerful they truly are. In fact, when you think about it, isn't it possible the same part of you that feels hesitant about responsibility is also the part of you that's been learning and growing all along? Learning how to make choices, learning how to adapt, learning how to manage things, even if it doesn't always seem easy. And maybe, just maybe, the responsibility you fear is simply a way for you to check in with yourself, like a natural pause, to ensure that you're moving in the direction that feels right for you. Isn't it true sometimes the things that seem most challenging, the responsibilities that seem most intimidating, they're actually a sign that you're on the verge of expanding into something even greater? There's a part of you deep down that's always known you can handle more than you might think. And the more you allow yourself to step into that responsibility, the more you'll discover being independent doesn't mean doing everything alone, but knowing when to trust yourself and when to ask for help. It's about having the confidence to choose, the courage to make decisions, and the wisdom to learn from them. Knowing every step it's a chance to grow, to discover more of what you're truly capable of. Imagine a moment when you feel completely free to make your own decisions. You're standing there with the space to choose, and you're aware of how much power you have in that moment. And as you make that decision, you might discover a feeling of relief, a sense that you've just stepped into something new, something empowering. And what if the responsibility you're afraid of isn't about being perfect, but simply about being willing to face the next step? Knowing the mistakes aren't failures, but they're lessons that bring you closer to your goals. What if instead of seeing responsibility as a burden, you could start seeing it as a tool that helps you to create the life you want? One decision, one action at a time. Isn't it possible, by learning to trust yourself and take on responsibility, you might not just discover your strength, but begin to understand the deeper wisdom that guides you in making decisions, that align you with who you truly are? And isn't it fascinating how sometimes the most powerful decisions, they come from simply choosing to take one small step, knowing each step is part of a larger journey, and every decision adds to the person you're becoming. So let's think for a moment. What if independence, it isn't about doing everything perfectly, but about allowing yourself the grace to grow into it, step by step, knowing the very act of embracing responsibility is what leads you to your own unique path? Could it be, by facing those fears, you're not just becoming independent, but you're also giving yourself permission to be human, to make mistakes, and to still be worthy of love, success, and freedom? Because in truth, you're capable, you're worthy, and you're more powerful than you might ever realize in this moment. Now, as you begin to recognize all the small ways you've been independent already, you might find that the fear begins to soften. The responsibility you've been so concerned about might become less of a burden and more of an opportunity, a space where you get to decide, get to learn, get to grow, knowing you're always moving forward, one decision at a time, towards a life you truly desire. And as you do this, the part of you that's been hesitant becomes just another part of you. A part that's now learning to embrace the future with confidence, knowing each choice, each responsibility is an opportunity to create something beautiful, something that's uniquely yours. You might even find yourself feeling the deep, natural pull of a powerful force within you, a force that wants to step forward, to embrace new possibilities, and to trust the path ahead. And as you allow yourself to notice this force, you might realize it's been with you all along, in subtle ways, guiding you without needing to be loud, simply flowing quietly beneath the surface. You see, it's never really been about the fear itself. It's been about your own deep wisdom guiding you to recognize every step you take as part of something much larger, much more expansive. And as you think about that fear, you can already sense how it begins to soften, how it begins to dissolve, like a cloud evaporating under the warmth of the sun. Can you notice that? The fear simply fading away. Because you know, it's not the fear itself that has power, but the way you respond to it, and how you decide to move through it. It's almost as if each time you make a small choice, a little decision, you're showing yourself exactly how capable you truly are. So imagine now you're standing at the edge of a vast open field. This field stretches out before you, and you are completely free to walk in any direction you choose. As you look around, you might notice the path ahead is wide open, and there's nothing but possibility. And in this moment, there's a deep knowing inside you that you're capable of navigating the vast expanse. It's as if the field represents all the choices that you'll make, and each step that you'll take not only will lead you to new experiences, but will deepen your connection to the incredible strength that's always been there, just guiding you quietly, confidently, and effortlessly. As you walk along this path, you might find you're beginning to realize something truly profound. The responsibility that once seemed so overwhelming is actually the key to unlocking everything you've ever wanted. Responsibility doesn't weigh you down. It lifts you up. It expands you. It grows you. And as you take on each new responsibility, you're learning and growing and becoming even more capable with each step. In fact, the more you step into responsibility, the more you discover how simple it is to manage, to choose, to decide. Because inside of you is a deep well of inner resources. Resources you've already used, even without realizing it. And perhaps, just perhaps, the very thought of responsibility might begin to feel lighter, easier, like a natural extension of who you truly are. You might even begin to notice, as you embrace responsibility, the fear of failure becomes less of a shadow, and more of a distant memory, a memory that no longer holds any power over you. After all, failures, they're simply feedback, aren't they? Feedback that allows you to course correct, to refine your choices, to grow into the person who has the capacity to handle whatever comes next. Isn't it true when you look back at everything you've ever accomplished? You see not just what you've done, but who you've become in the process. So imagine now, as you're walking down this path of independence, you might begin to notice something amazing. The more you step into this new freedom, the more you begin to realize you don't have to do it alone. You have access to a world of resources, a network of support, wisdom and guidance from others. You can ask for help when you need it. And you can also rely on your own strength and intuition when it's time to take a stand and make decisions. And maybe, just maybe, the idea of being responsible becomes a beautiful dance of balance, where you move forward with confidence. You stay open to learning from the feedback that life gives you. Responsibility is no longer a weight to bear, but a gift that you give yourself, a key to the door that opens up your true potential. Every choice, every decision, every step you take is part of the unfolding process of becoming someone who thrives, someone who rises to challenges, and someone who recognizes the beauty and the power in both success and failure. Can you feel it now, the sense of freedom, the sense of lightness that comes from knowing that you are fully capable of handling the responsibility that comes with independence? It's as if you've been preparing for this moment your entire life, and now it's simply a matter of trusting the process, trusting yourself and knowing that you're equipped to handle whatever comes next effortlessly, easily, and with grace. And the more you allow yourself to step into your power, the more you realise that fear was just an old story that you no longer need to hold on to. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about stepping forward anyway. Knowing every experience is an opportunity for growth. Every responsibility is an opportunity for expansion. And every decision is a chance to align more deeply with your own truth. So as you continue down this path, one small and part step at a time, notice how everything begins to align effortlessly. The more you accept responsibility, the more you learn and grow. And the more you realise you are in fact much more capable than you have ever given yourself credit for. Every time you choose to embrace responsibility, you're actually choosing to step into a life that's fully yours and that's filled with freedom, power and self-assurance you've always been destined for. And as you move forward, you might even begin to notice how simple it is to make decisions, how easily they flow from you, knowing no matter what happens, you'll always be able to adapt, to learn and to grow into the person who's more and more aligned with their own vision of success. And all along the way, you'll be embracing your power and your wisdom with every step that you take.